Hi, Ed Bixby here from the Global Green Burial Alliance, and this is Spotlight Now. Today I'm standing here, or sitting here, I shall say, with Dr. Max Justice. He's an entrepreneur and the CEO of Setas Eternal Living, a pioneering organization dedicated to creating sustainable solutions that intertwine innovation, agriculture, and community impact. With a strong foundation in technology, security, and business transformation, Dr. Justice brings over 25 years of expertise to his leadership role. Setas Eternal Living offers the MyCoffin and MyCoffin, 100% biodegradable coffins for both humans and pets. Max holds a PhD in Technology and Innovation Management, an MBA, and Bachelor of Science in Information Systems Management. Welcome, Max.
Thanks, Ed. Glad to be here.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you, Max. Congratulations on your certification of your new product with the GBC. And I think what we want to do is introduce not only the provider, but the consumer to your product. So, Max, if you could tell us about the start of Setas and the development of the MyCoffin, that would be great.
Sure. So it was about 7 years ago when, unfortunately, my little sister passed very suddenly. And we agreed that we were going to cremate one another. Well, when we were at the funeral procession, I asked the mortuary director, I said, "Hey, I'm just a curious kind of guy. What kind of filter do you put on the flue stack?" He just laughed at me. He said, "We don't put a filter on the flue stack." So when I think about my little sister and one of the last acts that she has done on this earth, it wasn't very environmentally friendly. In fact, it's actually one of the worst things that we can do for the environment with the amount of energy that it takes for a cremation. It's really a waste. And unfortunately, I've had to deal with a lot of death in my life. In fact, it was about 35 years ago that we buried my older brother and best friend and father figure. And we had the audacity to take that steel coffin that we were burying him in, and we put him into a concrete vault. Now, people say that concrete vaults are rather sealed, but I don't know about you, but whenever I put a concrete vault into the ground, I call that a swimming pool. So when I think about my family and how we've adversely affected this earth, I knew that we had to do something different. And frankly, my coffin right here, that's the answer. We take hemp, which is what's hanging in the background, and we introduce it to mycelium, which is fungus. By the way, I'm a mushroom farmer. And so I deal with a lot of fungus and mushrooms. And really, that's between the mushrooms and my family, that's what got me to grow my coffin. In fact, I'm very proud to say that I grow coffins. And I know of no one else in the US growing coffins. So if you or anybody else knows somebody growing coffins in the US, I'd love to hear about it. And that's what I'm really proud of, is that not only do I grow coffins, my coffin is the only carbon negative option for burial, as well as it uses the least amount of water of any form of burial. So, and that's one of the many reasons why the Green Burial Association gave me their 3-leaf certification, which is the highest certification rating that they give for any of their vendors.
That's wonderful, Max. And you know, it's really important for everyone to know, and I'm sure the consumers and the providers watching this know that, you know, sustainability is key, and there couldn't really be anything more sustainable in many ways than what you're doing. And I think what everyone would probably be interested in is, like, how is the mycelium grown, and how is the product formed? Because that seems to be really, I'm looking at the product behind you. It's very interesting. So I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
So how we grow it, it's actually pretty simple. We take hemp, or the hemp hurd actually, which is the very center core of the hemp plant, and we break that down into little pieces. And when I say little pieces, we're talking something smaller than my pinky nail. And we put all of the hemp into, well, we treat it much like a mushroom. We grow it, in fact, very much like a mushroom. We put the hemp into a bag and we sterilize the hemp. And once that hemp is fully sterilized, we take it into our mycology lab where we introduce the fungus or mycelium to the hemp. And it takes about 3 weeks really for the fungus, the mycelium, to grow all throughout our mold. Now, I have a very large mold that coffin is actually made or grown from. And I do plan on having other coffins. And in fact, just yesterday, I had a potential customer reach out to me about, they were very interested in my coffin. And now let me back up. The reason why I call it my coffin is mycology coffin, really is what we're talking about. And so fungus is, or the study of fungus is mycology. And so myco is the shortened version for mycology. And that's how I came up with my coffin. In fact, my wife hates it whenever I say my coffin all the time. And really, it's not my coffin, it's a mycology coffin. And my coffins are designed to naturally return the body to the earth in 3 years. And it does that by taking the mycelium, which that's the white stuff that you see here uh, in the coffin. And that white stuff, that is the living material. That's the fungus. And that grows all throughout. And once it's fully colonized and we take our coffin out, or my coffin out of the mold, and we put it into an oven and we petrify it. And it takes about 18 hours to petrify my coffin. And we put it into an oven. We slowly bake it or dehydrate it at about 165 degrees for 18 hours. And at the end of the 18 hours, we take the coffin out of the oven and we put it on the shelf. And it'll sit on the shelf until it's needed. And once it's needed, we ship it to the funeral home or the burial site. The deceased is placed into the coffin, and the liquid within inside the human body will actually feed the mycelium. And when it does, that's when that mycelium reconstitutes or comes back to life, and it naturally returns the body to the earth in under 3 years. Now, how do I know that it only takes 3 years to return a body to the earth? In fact, where you can't even tell any remains were left? Well, my first experiment was with one of my chickens. I buried one of my chickens in a pet coffin. And after a year, I exhumed my chicken. And the only thing I found was 2 thigh bones and 3 vertebrae. And now this, just a little over a year and a half since I buried my dog. He was a bull mastiff, and I buried him in the lid of my coffin. I simply cut my coffin lid in half, put him in between. And next August will be August 2025 will be the 2-year mark. And I'm going to exhume him, and I expect to find nothing but the metal on his collar.
That's very interesting. I mean, the one thing that I heard you say, and so when does the mycelium does become active again? So when the body decomposes and the moisture is, so that's part of the decomposition process itself.
Yes, in fact, it's very much needed because really it's the water within inside the human body that makes the mycelium come back to life. So when I take my coffin and petrify it, I'm really I'm drying it out to the point where it's not that it's not living, it's just in a suspended state, and it will reconstitute and come back to life once water is added. In fact, I have to worry about the moisture within the air, because in the dog days of summer, when the air is very humid, it will actually get my coffins to start growing reishi mushrooms, which is the fungus that we use, reishi fungus, to grow our mushrooms. Now, we don't have to use just reishi. I use reishi because it grows, or it colonizes very quickly. In fact, I can grow one of my coffins in as little as 3 weeks. And that's from the time that we introduced the mycelium to the hemp herd in our mycology lab. It sits on the shelf for 3 weeks, actually, and sorry, I misspoke. It's really 4 weeks. It sits on the shelf in what we call incubation for 3 weeks, where it fully colonizes throughout the mold. Now, I say colonizes throughout the mold. During incubation, it goes into a bag, which is another type of a mold. We have 10-pound bags that we grow the mycelium, or let the mycelium colonize throughout the hemp. Then after 3 weeks, we take that bag of mycelium and hemp, and we break it up, and we take that individual pieces and we put it all throughout the mold, and we stuff it into the mold. Now, so it's been 3 weeks on the shelf, and then once we put it into the mold, 5 days later, it's done. It's completely grown. It looks just like you can see behind me. And once it's grown for 5 days, then we stick it into a preconditioning room for 1 day, where it turns a nice soft white. And then we put it into the oven for the 18 hours. So in 4 weeks' time, from soup to nuts, we can grow a coffin.
That's incredible. Let me ask you this, Max. So, are there any? So, how could a consumer or a provider, how could they purchase your product, and is it available throughout the entire 50 states, or do you have a limited marketplace?
I'm not aware of a limited market per se. And what I mean by that, so every state is different in the regulations. I've not found anything that says that a person cannot be buried in one of my coffin as far as the state is concerned. It's really in each individual cemetery that defines whether or not they will accept my coffin. Some cemeteries don't accept natural burials, and of all the research that I've been doing, well over 95% of the time, the reason why they won't accept it is due to aesthetics. They don't like their landscapers doing this as they're mowing the cemetery. So it really is up to the individual cemetery, and I ask everyone to check with their cemetery provider if they accept my coffin.
Right, understood. And to the consumer and the providers surely know this. You're absolutely right, Max. That is a regulation that is for aesthetics. When it comes to concrete vaults and things like that. But natural burials have been happening since the dawn of time, and it's nothing new to cemeteries themselves. So when it comes to the casket, what are the customizations, if any, and maybe the customization really could be size? Are they all one size, or how do we address that?
Yeah, so I touched on it briefly earlier in the conversation. So I had a customer call just yesterday, and they were looking into my coffin for one of their loved ones, or actually what they wanted was a mushroom shroud. And I think it was the actor Luke Perry who was buried in a mycelium shroud. I don't believe that company is in business any longer. In fact, I was just looking for them yesterday and couldn't find any information about them. And whenever I go to the various associations that I belong to, I was unable to find anything there as well. Now, my coffin, it's right now it's just one standard size. It can fit a person up to 6'2" in height, as well, and then weight. I've tested it at 250 pounds. I do need to, because this one customer that they were calling about yesterday was an obese individual, in fact, morbidly obese. And I'm not sure that my coffin is currently the right solution for that individual. So I do need to make a larger mold. The molds that I create right now really are handmade, and they're handmade out of wood and foam and a little bit of plastic. Not much there as far as plastic. In fact, I actually use recycled plastic. And So I need to grow or make another mold for larger individuals. And in fact, I have several molds for my pets and infants. I have a small, medium, and large pet coffin, and my medium pet coffin is also what I would call for my coffin for infants. So I do have different sizes for humans, just to infant size and full adult, and I do plan on having various sizes that will accept really anyone.
Sure, absolutely. And we understand. I mean, as time goes on, I'm sure that you'll be tweaking and doing all kinds of different things when it comes to your products. I mean, this is this is a conversation that is very new to the fuel industry when it comes to a product like this. But I could imagine that this is something that people are really going to want to and desire. It's a very sustainable option. It's something that the process itself makes a lot of sense, and it's not something that you have to convince people to understand or want to do it. So I commend you on your innovation here, Max. I mean, like you said, to be the first is pretty amazing because at the end of the day, it took someone like yourself to look at this and say, wow, it can be done and it needs to be done. So kudos to you and your company. If you had let's I always ask a question in our interviews, where would you like to see your, not let's say your product, but the industry and your product within that industry be in the next 5 to 10 years concerning using a mycelium based product like you're offering? What would be like your perfect vision of where you would like to see things be in the future?
In the future, I would love to see lots of competition. In fact, I need a great deal of more competition. And really, by having more competition, that's also going to help get the word out. Right now, I'm not a one person show. I actually just inked a deal with a equity partner who's going to be doing a lot of my marketing, and she's my chief marketing officer. And Johnny will be taking care of many of those aspects to help get the word out. Just because I'm involved in the operations and building out the company, going and finding people that are unaware of this solution and enlightening them takes a great deal of time. And unfortunately, I only have so much time left on this earth.
No, understood, understood. Well, Max, we at the Global Green Burial Alliance, we really appreciate you coming on today and talking about your product. Anyone watching this, you can find Max. Max will share his contact information, his website, so you guys can take a look at what Max is doing. It's the holiday season. Happy holidays to everyone. My co-host Gretchen is still on holiday hiatus, but she'll be back in January. And congratulations, Max. It's been great to speak to you. It's great to see such a wonderful product. Congratulations on your certification. And if there's anything that the Global Green Burial Alliance can do for you in the future, you let us know. I mean, as you make new products or new innovations, reach out to us, and we'll be glad to get that information out to the listeners.
Will do. And thanks, Ed. I really appreciate the time and helping to get the word out. And also, I really appreciate all your viewers who's actually went through this interview to learn more about our solution called MyCoffin.
Absolutely. Thanks, Max. Have a great day, and see you next time.